There are a few big names in real estate you may have heard before. Nate Johnson. Oh, just kidding. But if you've heard of anyone mention Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, I will tell you who they are. You know, some people may have thought they were a boy band from the 90s, but it's not true. Fannie Mae was chartered by the U.S. government in 1938 and Freddie Mac in 1970. Now, the purpose of these entities is to create a more reliable and affordable supply of mortgage funds throughout the country. But I'm going to tell you, going back to 1938 when Fannie Mae was chartered, it was not a pretty picture because it came on the heels of the passage of the National Housing Act. We were in the Great Depression during the time, and we needed to create a way for people to stay in their homes because there were foreclosures happening all over, but also to create more housing opportunities for folks. It was good for some, but not for all, because between the period of the creation of the FHA loan, which was in 1935, I believe, maybe 1934, at any rate, between the year of 1934 and 1968, when the passage of the Federal Fair Housing Act occurred, we saw less than 2% of FHA loans issued to non-white families in our country. So as you can imagine, that has put a lot of people behind as it relates to obtaining upward mobility through home ownership. Anyhow, let's get back to what I was talking about, which is how does Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac do what they do, and what is it that they do? As I said, they create a reliable and affordable supply of mortgage funds, and they do that by buying mortgages from lenders. Okay, so they hold these mortgages in their own portfolios, or they package them into mortgage-backed securities that are sold on the secondary market. Now, very interesting because these two entities are quasi-governmental entities, okay? Because they have some protections of the government, but they're not full government agencies, which is quite interesting. And if you were around during the Great Recession of 2008 and the foreclosure crisis, then you know how this all came and blew up because of all of these bad loans that were on the books with Fannie and Freddie. Because there were lenders that were just giving anybody that could fog a mirror a loan, and as a result, they were then packaging them up because they were selling them off, and somebody was left holding the bag. It was like a giant pyramid scheme. It was terrible. But at any rate, Fannie and Freddie now they buy these mortgages, and they're much more. They scrutinize them much more to ensure that they all align with their standards, so that they can be sold on the secondary market, or so that they can keep them in their portfolio as investments. And let me tell you about the scrutiny, because right now, this very minute, I am mired in the scrutiny of Fannie Mae as it relates to their lending on a condo. I've got a condo with a client we're hoping to close soon. But let me tell you, because of the requirements that Fannie Mae has as a result, relate, as it as it comes to the insurance that the building has, it is it's very it's very complicated. I'm not going to go on any further about that. You don't care about the insurance on this condo. My client cares. I care. We want this resolved, and hopefully we will get it resolved because we're working hard, contacting a lot of other lenders, potentially looking to do what we call a portfolio loan. So a portfolio loan happens when a bank is not getting Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac insurance, and they decide to keep the loan in their own portfolio. So as I mentioned with Fannie and Freddie, these loans all have to be the same in terms of the criteria and the guidelines because they package them up and they sell them to investors on the secondary market. Not the case with the portfolio loan, which is what we're hoping to do with my client who is purchasing this condo. So by guaranteeing the timely payment of these mortgages, Fannie and Freddie attract secondary mortgage market investors. And by doing that, they're expanding the pool of funds available for housing, which is overall a great thing for the industry, which, of course, as a realtor, that's my industry, but also for the communities that we live and work in as a whole. Because what we know is that home ownership is the pathway towards financial independence and financial security as well. And neighborhoods that consist primarily of homeowners are more stable neighborhoods. When people own their own home, they have a stake in the community that they live and work in. And that's why we want to see home ownership more accessible for everyone. And what all of this does in terms of Fannie and Freddie is it makes the secondary mortgage market more liquid and helps lower interest rates paid by home buyers and other mortgage borrowers. Of course, if you've got any questions about any of this, I'm always happy to talk about this. As you know, I look forward to hearing from you and have a great week.